What's up, everybody? Matt Kajeski here, back again with the Odd Shopper channel. And today, here to talk about college basketball betting. It's Tuesday, March the 7th. The conference tournament's fully underway. ACC begins today. Before we get started, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when this and all other content goes live. If you're listening on podcast, please leave a rating and review over there as well. It helps us a ton. And we are brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. They have a limited time offer for you guys right now where you can bet $5 on any pregame money line. And if that bet wins, you are automatically turning that $5 into $150. Now, that bet does have to win. So my recommendation is head over to DraftKings Sportsbook, find a big favorite against the spread. An example of that today in college basketball is Vermont. They're minus 14 and taking money. You hit them on the money line. Good chance you win that. So good chance you turn that 5 into 150. You can take advantage of this by hitting the link in the video description below. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, please call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. The legal age for gambling in most states is 21 plus. And one last thing before we get started, I want to highlight our Odd Shopper Premium tools. Odd Shopper Premium is basically a feature we have, a tool we have that's new and improved via algorithms to help you increase your returns betting. There's a ton of different ways that you can use the tools too. There's new odds boost tools, pick'em tools, and it's had a 5.5% ROI since we launched. And the real reason I want to highlight this is there's a 7-day free trial for new users. As we enter conference tournaments, as we enter March Madness, this may be something that's interesting to you. So if you want to check it out for free, especially during some of these hot betting times, feel free to do so with the link in the video description below. All right, let's talk betting. Yesterday was a solid day with a lot of the mid-majors. Went 2-1 on the video, had some success outside of that as well. So we hope to move it forward with more mid-majors. A couple championships tonight, the horizon. That won't be on our docket, but make sure you're checking out some of those games. You'll be able to see some teams that will be playing in the overall NCAA tournament. But we kick things off with Utah Tech taking on Stephen F. Austin. Utah Tech is a team we've picked on a little bit in the past, and we're going to do so again here. Excuse me, I'm under a little bit of the weather here, just a little cough. But so Stephen F. Austin, this is actually a double dip for me, and I don't know that I've done this on the video at least this year, where I took both a side and a total, took Stephen F. Austin -2 and over 147 in this game. So speaking to the over just quickly, both these teams, pace lines up. You have two teams above average in terms of pace. Utah Tech, 72.1 possessions per game. Stephen F. Austin, 73.4. That works in our favor. And these teams are both pretty decent on offense. We're talking about two top 180 teams. Again, there's over 300 teams in college basketball. So two teams either at or above the league average play, and Utah Tech is that for sure. And then last thing with Utah Tech is they're horrific on defense. This team is 262nd on defense, which should allow Stephen F. Austin, who's 179th on offense, the ability to score. And I think that should happen at will here. So when you dive into these teams stylistically, which we'll do briefly here before we move to our next bet, basically that defensive advantage that Stephen F. Austin has is going to be the key in this game, in my opinion. They're 117th in defensive advantage or in defensive efficiency. And again, Utah Tech is outside that top 250. Now, outside of that, these teams are actually pretty similar in terms of scoring. They both shoot threes really well. They're both top 20 in three-point percentage. Both these teams are actually pretty good in rebounding, despite Utah Tech having an advantage there in height. Both these teams turn the ball over a ton on offense. They generate a ton of turnovers on defense. They both foul a ton on offense and generate a ton of fouls on defense. So this kind of has the recipe of being like a sloppy game. With that said, the fact that you have one team so much better in terms of the offensive matchup in Stephen F. Austin, that's where we'll lean. And regardless, think this is one that can eclipse the total either way. These teams already played once this year, and Stephen F. Austin won 85-72. That was on Utah Tech's home court, just giving you an example of what these two teams can do when they play each other. Going to our second game, we have UMass taking on Richmond. An interesting game here. Not one I thought I would talk about, but one I think we're going to get some line movement. Have Richmond -2. They have a lot of advantage here. UMass is one of these teams that basically plays awesome defense, and they haven't shown a strong ability to score. UMass did beat Richmond in the first matchup, 85-76, but shot quality had this as a win for Richmond, 78-77. So you got a team due for some positive regression here. But basically, every advantage UMass has, I think, can kind of be mitigated by Richmond a little bit here. The rebounding numbers for Richmond are really interesting, and I want to focus on that for a second, then we'll talk some other stylistics. They're 253rd in overall rebounding, but most of that bad number comes via offensive rebounding. They're 333rd. They're actually 61st in defensive rebounding. They just don't attack the glass on offense whatsoever. So that's a stylistic. It's like a preference for them. It's not something where they're super deficient, if that makes sense. But outside of that, they have the offensive efficiency. On defense, there are situational advantages where I think they can take advantage of. And plus, UMass ranked 262nd in offensive efficiency. I'm not exactly worried about Richmond's defense being outside the top 175 either, even though it's narrow. From there, you just have the better shooting. Free throws, they're 104th. UMass is 187th. Both these teams generate a lot of fouls on offense and defense. They actually are both two very foul-prone teams and teams that generate a lot of fouls. Richmond has the slight edge there. They don't foul as much as UMass, so that could be a potential edge. And then on offense, UMass is 315th in turnovers. That's something that's going to be an issue too. Now, on the other side, they generate a lot of turnovers themselves, but Richmond, 77th in turnovers committed. That's a strong number for them too. So as you can see, there's all these micro edges, even though the first matchup did not go Richmond's way. Shot quality had it that way, and it's a team due for some positive regression. We'll back the Spiders here against UMass. Last game, we are going to go to the greasy first round of the ACC. My goodness, you couldn't draw up a better matchup, Louisville versus Boston College, but I know those of you that are deep divers are still interested in this matchup, as am I. Louisville has given a couple teams some scares recently, Virginia among them, but the biggest thing in this game, and not to bury the lead, but we'll be taking Louisville +6. Quinton Post got hurt for Boston College. He did not practice yesterday. There was actually video of the practice, and all he was doing was walking around the court. It's a sprained ankle for him, a big man, a 7-footer. This is an important absence for them, or potential absence. I do not think he plays. I'd be absolutely shocked if he did. And that's big against Louisville. So a couple things here. Louisville essentially has one guard on their roster. That means they're pretty tall. They've got a lot of forwards. They're 62nd in height. Boston College is 132nd in height, but they just lost Quinton Post, who is not only mathematically their most efficient player by a wide margin. You can look at Bayesian performance rating. Quinton Post it's not even close. He's the most important player to this offense, but he's also the tallest. He's 7 feet tall. The next tallest guy in their rotation is TJ Bickerstaff. And let's put in their rotation in quotes, because Boston College has not consistently played the same rotation all year. And Bickerstaff has actually been a guy who's found himself sitting on the bench more often than not. And again, Louisville has a ton of size. Now, how good is that size is a different question, but I think you've actually seen some strides. Withers has played a lot better. Brendan Huntley-Hatfield has been back from injury. So you actually have some players in this lineup that are interesting. And since February 1st, Louisville actually ranks 220th in overall power ranking, which is much different than their 284th power ranking on the year. Boston College is 173rd. So the gap here is a little closer than people might think, which I think is why you see the spread at 6, which it's closer than maybe people that see the record would guess. But in my opinion, it's still a little bit too high. Just for reference, the first game, Boston College won 75-65. Quinton Post played. He scored 22 points. We're now removing that from the offense. Give me Louisville here as the dog. A ton of games today, a ton of championships, but we'll also be getting into the heart of some of the big conferences, like Big Ten tips off tomorrow. You got a lot of great conference matchups coming up in conference tournaments. Let me know what you think about the games today and the games in this video in the comment section. If you'd like to reach out, I'm on Twitter at Matt_Gajeski, and we'll be back every day through the end of March Madness. So continue to check it out. Thank you if you have. I appreciate it. We'll see you next time.